Okay, so you guys, let's discuss a couple of things. Um, Number one, and the most important thing, we're going to talk about closing. We're going to talk about the closing process. Then we're going to going to talk about excuse me, earnest money and earnest funds. Now, first and foremost, what I'm going to talk about first is nothing new, but we are going to enforce it more as a corporation. So let's talk about Platinum DB and the process. Number one, in Platinum DB, there is video tutorials to help you understand Platinum DB. If you are a member of the coaching program, feel free to contact me. I will personally walk you through the coaching process step by step. If you have questions with Platinum DB, if you have questions with the contract, if you have questions with marketing, advertising, anything, if you're in that coaching program, contact me. So if you're in the coaching program and you're having problem with Platinum DB, one, you can watch the videos, and two, you can contact me as well. If you are not in the coaching program, if you are on the 100% side, that means you have elected that you are on the 100% side. When you close a deal, you receive 100% of your commission, less a small transaction fee. That is wonderful. But then you're also saying that you're taking on the responsibility to follow the policies and procedures at the closings and to handle your paperwork and to do everything correctly according to Georgia law and according to the policies and procedures of the corporation, okay? That's what you're saying when you're on the 100% side. Many times, agents are on the 100% side, but you're contacting me saying, hey, Mr. Broker, I need to take up an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of your time. I don't understand. I'm not doing things correctly. And obviously, that's a problem. So let's briefly go over Platinum DB. And let's go over the closing process. This is nothing new, but I'm putting everybody on notice. As of November 1, 2020, the closing department have been instructed by me to enforce the policies and procedures, okay? Many times, you guys, agents, will not follow the procedures, but obviously agents want to be paid very quickly. Agents don't follow the procedures, but agents want to get their money quickly. So if you want to get paid quickly, it's very important that everybody follows the policies and procedures of the corporation. So number one, Platinum DB have videos. There's videos in Platinum DB that explains Platinum DB, that explains the process, explains everything that you should do step by step by step. I'm going to give you the quick overview today. And please, ma'am, please, sir, the policy and procedures, they're going to be enforced as of November 1, 2020. So with that being said, number one, agents, you are to upload, when you have a transaction, it is your responsibility within 24 hours of getting any document executed. That means when all parties sign any document, it is your responsibility within 24 hours to have it uploaded to Platinum DB. Please, I want to be clear. You are not to upload 5 documents or 9 documents right before closing. That's unacceptable. That does not follow the policy and procedures. So, any document you receive, you are required per the policy and procedures to upload it to Platinum DB. Georgia law says, as an agent, you are required to give everything to your broker. So Georgia law says contracts, settlement statements, copies of earnest money, appraisals, inspections, on and on and on. Georgia law says you as an agent, you are required to report it to your broker. That's what Georgia law says. Our company says the way you report it to us is you are to upload it within Platinum DB. Okay? So number one, you go into Platinum DB and you create a transaction. So step one, you have to say, hey, this is a transaction that's going on. Okay? So when you get that executed contract, you have to say, number one, Platinum Real Estate, here is I have a transaction going on. That's step one. Step two, you have to upload all of the documents for the approval. If the document is correct, meaning everybody signed, the document will then be approved. If the document is not approved, let me give you an example. The buyer signed the document, but the seller did not sign the document. So if everybody did not sign the document will not get approved. If the document is not approved, that's fine, but then you have to upload a new document under a new tab. You cannot upload the same document under the same tab. So you upload a contract. The contract is not approved because it's not signed by all parties. You have to then upload a new contract. So first you have to start a transaction. That transaction is going to show as pending. You then upload all the documents. Now I will say most agents are getting this part. You start the transaction, great. You upload all of the documents. There's mandatory documents that you have to upload to get paid. For example, here's a few. You have to upload a copy of the contract. You have to upload a copy of the earnest money regardless of who's holding the earnest money, whether Platinum Real Estate is holding the earnest money or whether the other company is holding the earnest money. You have to upload a copy of the earnest money. Then you have to upload a copy of the earnest money, the settlement statement, and there is in Platinum DB, there's a guideline of all mandatory documents. You have to upload all of the mandatory documents on the mandatory checklist. Now, let me be very clear, and this is what most agents are missing. This is a very, very important point that I want to make at this meeting that I want everybody to get. Since we started Platinum DB a couple of years ago, one of the mandatory documents is one of two things. You have to complete the mandatory check request. If you are making notes, please make this note. This is a major reason for my meeting today. You have to upload either one, the mandatory check request, or two, the wiring check request, the wiring request. You have to upload one of those two forms. It's mandatory. You must upload that. You also have to now, why am I saying that? We have a lot of closings every day. So the closing department have 5 to 15 closings daily. So when you deposit a check, you have to upload a copy of the check. That's fine. You have to upload a copy of the deposit slip. That's fine. So upload the deposit slip, upload the check. That's fine. But you also need to fill out the form and upload that form as well. The form basically says, hey, closing department, I just closed the deal. The check is $6,000. The check number is check number 1234. I deposit on this specific date, that helps the closing department locate your specific check. Okay? So the closing department can find your check when you complete the manual check request. Now, let's say you decide, what I want to do is I want to wire. First of all, you know that for us to receive a wire, it costs you $50, because whenever we receive a wire, we receive a fee, we pass that fee on to you. But again, you have to fill out the form that says, my wire was sent on this day, it was in this amount, and it came from this company. So the closing department can go into the bank account and they can find your wire. So if you have a closing and you go to the closing and you say, hey, Mr. Closing Attorney, give me a check. If he gives you a manual check, you have to fill out the manual check request form. If you say, Mr. Closing Attorney, here's the wiring instructions, you have to also say, closing department, I'm going to receive a wire for this closing, and here's all the information for the wire. Please, I'm putting all agents on notice. You have, those forms are mandatory. You have to complete one of the two. One, manual check request, or two, I'm receiving the wire. That's the only way the closing department will know how to locate your closing. What's happening now is, yes, you upload the check, and yes, you upload the deposit slip, and yes, you upload the contract and the earnest money and all of these different things, but the closing department is having a very tough time locating all of the different closings, so it's taking time, it's taking energy, and there is a delay. So if you want a smooth closing, okay, make sure that you fill out the form and upload it to Platinum DB. Okay? Any questions? Let me check my chat. Any questions? Now, all of the forms you can find in the agent portal. So if you go to platinumrealestate.com, click agent login. If you log in, all of the forms that you need is right there in the agent portal. Go to the agent portal, get your form, upload it, you're done. Okay? Questions? This is nothing new, but I want all agents to understand the closing department have been instructed to enforce the policy and procedures. Up until this point, the closing department have been very nice, and they try to figure it out, and they try to go into the bank account, and they try to find your deposit, and they're trying to find your wire. And they're receiving wires, but it's very hard to match the wire with the specific closing, because we receive a lot of closings, we receive a lot of wires, and so the closing department having problems matching up all of these wires and all of these deposits. So it's your responsibility to fill out the form which says, closing department, this is my wire, or closing department, this is my commission check. Okay. All right. Now, really quick, let me do this. All right. Now let's talk about earnest money. Very, very important, earnest money. Okay. Quick question here. Let me ask everybody to make sure I have everybody here. Can you see the form on my screen? Make sure you guys can see this form. Can you
Yes, I
guys,
can see it.
can everybody see the form? Yes? Can you see the form? Please tell me
Yes.
yes, no, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
wonderful.
can see it, yes.
Okay, beautiful. Now, let's discuss this form. This is something that's new as of November 1, 2020. Now, this is something that's 100% new. So all that other stuff, that was stuff that's been around forever. We are just enforcing you to do it. And if you don't do it, you will get a delay. Now, this form that you see on your screen is new. Earnest money. First, let's talk about the old stuff, and then we'll talk about some of the new, okay? So, Platinum DB, you always have to start a transaction. That's nothing new. Platinum DB, you always have to upload all of your documents. Nothing new, okay? Whether we're holding the earnest money, whether another company is holding the earnest money, you always have to upload the earnest money to Platinum DB. Nothing new, okay? Now, you also have to, if Platinum Real Estate is holding the earnest money, I repeat, only and only if Platinum Real Estate is holding the earnest money, you have to go into Platinum DB and you have to first request to hold earnest money. Okay? This is a step some agents miss. But if Platinum Real Estate is holding the earnest money, you have to go into Platinum DB and you have to say, I would like to hold earnest money. If you have a rental, and if the rental is if Platinum Real Estate is holding the security deposits, you have to go into Platinum DB and you have to say, hey, Platinum Real Estate, I am holding security deposits or I am holding earnest money. So for every deal that you have, whether it's earnest money or whether it is security deposit, you have to first of all go into Platinum Real Estate, you have to go into Platinum DB and ask for permission to hold the earnest money. And the earnest money will show up as pending. Step one, you have to make the earnest money pending. That's nothing new. That's been in Platinum DB ever since day one. But if you have earnest money or if you have security deposit, you have to log into Platinum DB. You have to enter the earnest money. So it's going to say, what's the property address? How much is the earnest money? What property is the earnest money for? Same thing with security deposit. There's a transaction. How much is the security deposit? What's the property address with the security deposit, et cetera, okay? All right, that's nothing new. Here's what's new. The new part is after you put it into, when you go and when you get that physical check from your client for the earnest money, the form that's on the screen, you have to have this form completed. Now, let's look at this form. Earnest money / security deposit approval form. This is saying I have to get approval, written approval from my broker before I deposit this check into the escrow account. So it says agents must get written approval from the broker before depositing the trust funds. Please complete and email this form and a copy of the check to closing at platinumrealestate.com 24 hours before making the deposit. So it says check one. Is this security deposit or this earnest money? Check one of the two. Complete the property address. Your name, seller name, buyer name, closing date, or if it's security deposit, the move-in date, who is the closing attorney, if it is a rental and if it's security deposit under closed attorney, you can put NA, not applicable. Date the check was received. What date did you receive the check? The check amount, the check number, and then at the very bottom, I'm going to sign and I'm going to date. When you have this form signed and dated by the broker, you can then make the deposit. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot deposit earnest money or security deposit into the trust account without the written approval of the broker. Let me be very clear. You have to have this form signed by me before you make a deposit into the trust account. This is new, okay? Now, before, you was required to put your name and the property address on the deposit slip. Sometimes you guys was doing it, some time you guys would not do it, okay? So now what we are saying is, listen, you guys, no money goes into the trust account without written approval from your broker, okay? So if you write a contract and on that contract, it says Platinum Real Estate is holding the earnest money. Terrific. You then say, okay, Platinum Real Estate is holding the earnest money. Great. You go and you get the check. It's a $1,000 earnest money check. You have to then complete this form, email this form to closing, get this form signed and approved before you make the deposit. Because this form has to be signed and approved before you make a deposit into the trust account for security deposits and earnest money. Let's be clear. Not the closing check. So as if you're a new agent, we're not talking about the closing check. We are talking about earnest money. We are talking about closing, we are talking about earnest money. We are talking about security deposits. You can find this form in you can find this form in the agent portal. So let me talk about some mistakes or some common mistakes that agents are making, and I want to make sure that we don't have these problems moving forward. First, let's talk about the process. When you have a closing, let's take a step back. When you have a closing, you enter the transaction 30 days before. You enter the transaction, you get the sales contract, you upload it. You get a copy of the earnest money immediately, whether Platinum is holding the earnest money, whether the other company is holding the earnest money. You must have a copy of the earnest money. Regardless of who's holding the earnest money, you get a copy of the earnest money and you upload it immediately. Major mistakes agents are making. Agents hold all of the documents and then you want to upload 9 documents at the time of closing. If you do that, you will not get paid on time. Please, I'm putting everybody on notice. If you hold documents, you will not get paid on time. It is a violation of the policies and procedures. So you get a copy of the contract, upload it. You immediately get a copy of the earnest money, upload it, okay? Inspection, appraisal, pre-approval letter, all that stuff, you are uploading it as the deal goes. Now, once all of the documents are uploaded, here's a mistake a lot of agents are making. I want to make sure that I'm clear. Once you upload all of the documents, Then you have to go back to the transaction. When you start a transaction, it is considered pending. Once you upload all of the mandatory documents, one of the mandatory documents is you have to have either the manual check request form or you have to have the wiring form completed and uploaded and approved. Copy of the closing check needs to be uploaded and approved. Copy of the settlement statement have to be uploaded and approved. Once all mandatory documents have been uploaded, then you have to go back into Platinum DB and you take the transaction from pending. You have to now say pending broker review. This is a step that a lot of agents miss. So first, the deal is pending and you're uploading all of the documents. Once you have uploaded all of the documents, then you simply have to say, closing department, I have uploaded all of the mandatory documents. I am changing this deal from pending to pending broker review. Broker, please review all of my documents so I can get paid. So all of the mandatory documents are in there. You go into transaction, you change it from pending to pending broker review. The closing department reviews everything. They say this transaction is approved. When the transaction is approved, then the RFC button pops up. RFC, request for commission, and then you can get paid. And then, as you know, you receive a wire the next day. Now, if you do not have the manual check request form completed, your transaction will not get approved. If you do not have all mandatory documents, your transaction will not be approved. Okay? So upload all of the mandatory documents. Then from there, you do broker review. After you do the broker review, then the broker approves it, then you can do the RFC. Now, let's go to the earnest money side. Earnest money security deposits, okay? Again, you always have to start a transaction. You upload all of the documents, but if Platinum Real Estate is holding the earnest money, or if Platinum Real Estate is holding the security deposits, you have to go into the system and you click earnest money. And then you upload all of the information for the earnest money or the security deposit. At that time, the earnest money or the security deposit is considered pending. The closing department will then approve it. When you go into the system and when you request the earnest money, you have to complete the earnest money or security deposit form. And it looks just like this. Bam. So you go into the system and you click earnest money and you say, I want to have approval to hold earnest money in Platinum DB. This is nothing new. But then what you do is you have to say, okay, let me complete the form in the agent portal and upload that as well to get approval. You have to have this form approved before you deposit the earnest money or the security deposit check. Okay? Let me check and see if I have any questions. Let me see. Okay. All right. I have a question here. Where do we deposit the earnest money or security deposit? Where do we deposit the funds? The actual instructions is in the agent portal. The account haven't changed. The account is the same, but all of that information is in the agent portal. Okay. So, um, in the agent portal, have the instructions on the account and the bank account and the trust account number and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Um, all right. The question is, what if the client is out of state and want to wire the earnest money? Nothing changes. You still have to get it approved from your broker. And if you guys do not understand nothing else, if you don't get anything else before any money goes into the trust account, you must get it approved from your broker. So if a person wants to wire money into the trust account, you are required to contact your broker. As of November 1, 2020, no money can go into our trust account without written approval from your broker. Earnest money, security deposit, whether it is a wire, whether it is a check, you must get written approval from your broker. So, um, um, yes. So here's the deal. If somebody wants to wire money to our account, you have to get approval from your broker. Somebody says, who pays the $50 wire fee if the person wants to wire security deposits or earnest money? That client is going to have to pay the $50. But you have to get the approval from the broker before they can do anything. So the broker is going to say, Mr. Agent, you have approval for this wire, but please tell your client that your client have to agree to the $50. So they either agree to the $50 wire fee, or they can FedEx overnight you a check, or they can FedEx you a check, or whatever they want to do, but no funds can go into our trust account without written approval from the broker, period. So all of these different questions you can ask when you're asking for approval. I have a client that would like to wire funds. First of all, do I have the approval? The broker might say, no, you can't wire the funds. You have to write a check. Or the broker might say, you know what? You can wire the funds, but your client have to agree to the $50 fee. Okay? So here's some major points that I hope everybody takes from this meeting. Number one, Platinum DB, watch the videos. I want to say that again. When you have a transaction, there's training videos in Platinum DB. Watch the videos. They're very self-explanatory. They're going to help you. That's number one. Number two, once you have uploaded all of the documents for your closing, you have to change the transaction from a pending transaction to broker review. That's a step that a lot of people are making. Okay. So you have to take so once you've uploaded all of the documents, then you have to say, Mr. Broker, I uploaded all of the documents. Please review my entire transaction and approve it so I can move forward. All of this is in the agent portal all of this is in Platinum DB under the training videos. If you watch the training videos, it will explain this. Okay. All right. Next, you have to have the manual check or the wire form uploaded on all closings. So if you're going to have a closing, and if you are doing a manual check request, you have to have the manual check request completed. If you're going to do a wire for the closing, you have to have the wire check request completed. Okay? Have that completed and have that uploaded. You have to have that approved to get paid on any closing. Now let's go over to the earnest money and the security deposit. Earnest money and security deposit as of November 1, 2020, the form that you see on your screen, you have to have that form approved before you deposit earnest money or security deposit into our account. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot deposit earnest money or security deposit into our account without written approval from your broker as of November 1, 2020. Questions? Let me look over here on my chat. There's some questions about the wiring fee for earnest money and security deposits. Do not worry about that. You know why? Because you have to get it approved first. So when you get it approved, that's when you will receive the information. First of all, you have to get the wire approved. So let's start right there. If we're dealing with earnest money or security deposits, whether it's a manual check or whether it's a wire, you have to get it approved from the broker, which means if there's fees involved, it will be discussed when you get your approval, if you get your approval. Because the closing department may say, hey, why are we doing the wire? Why is your client even wiring this for us, right? So you're going to have a good reason on why your client is wiring the funds, okay? Now, when you guys put documents into Platinum DB, every document is approved daily. So the closing department approves all documents on a daily basis. If you send in the request to hold earnest money, or when you send in the request to hold security deposit, myself or someone on the closing department will sign and approve it daily. So before they go home, they're going to look at that security deposit request, and if you look at the form, it says send a copy of the check and send the form to closing@platinumrealestate.com. They will review the form, they will sign off on it, or I will sign off on it daily. Okay. All right. Don't think any other questions here. Questions. You can shoot the questions through the chat. Okay. But basically, here's the point of my meeting. Nothing have really changed. The closing department just have instructions to enforce the policy and procedures better. Because at this point, if an agent, for some reason, but did not fill out the manual check request form, the closing department was trying to scramble around the bank account and find the deposit. We're not doing that anymore. It's your money, your licensed real estate agent, fill out the form, send it in, okay? The only thing new is You have to have written approval with a new form before you deposit earnest money or security deposits. Now, let me make this very, very clear as well. The Georgia Real Estate Commission says if you have a contract, all contracts, copy of earnest money, copy of security deposits, you are required to keep a copy as well. So please, ma'am, please, sir, you should have a place on your computer, or you should have a external drive. Maybe you have Google Drive, iCloud, Dropbox. Every deal that you have, you should have a copy of the contract, the earnest money, deposit slips. You should keep a copy of all of that forever. I repeat, forever. So you should have a copy of everything that goes on any one of your deals. So if the Georgia Real Estate Commission comes in and says, Mr. Agent, show me the security deposit, or show me the earnest money, or show me a copy of the closing check, or show me the contract for a specific deal, you should be able to bring up all of the documents. So you want electronic files that you keep for yourself, okay? Everything you should have electronically stored for yourself. I am an Apple guy. I love iCloud. Some people like Dropbox. Some people like Google Drive. So there's a lot of different forms that you can keep your information. But my point is your responsibility to keep all deals. So you're supposed to do two things: keep a copy of everything forever, and two, report it to your broker. And the way you give it to your broker is through Platinum DB. Okay? Questions? Questions, everyone. Questions. All right, have another question about the wire. Again, security deposits, earnest money, you have to get approved by your broker. At the time of approval, all of that will be discussed, okay? Because somebody said, well, should my client wire $50 more when they wire in the funds, okay? We will discuss that at the time of approval, okay? All right, questions, anyone? Any more questions? Well, all right, you guys. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to text me. I'm always here for you. Text me anytime. If you have any questions. I want to make this point. My goal is for the month of November. I am going to have online trainings just like this for you guys. So next week, I am going to go over Platinum DB in more detail. I am going to go over it in more detail. Please be on the upcoming calls because I am going to talk about Platinum DB. I am going to go over the mandatory things that you have to do in Platinum DB, and I will answer questions. So next week, we will go over Platinum DB in more detail. So if you have questions, please log in to the training next week. Very, very important training. We will talk about Platinum DB. We are going to talk about the closing process. We are going to also talk about some trust funds as well. So please log in to the meeting next Tuesday at 8:30. All right. Well, hey, you guys, one last thing. Please pray for this election. Pray for your president. Pray for the upcoming president. Pray for this election process. As y'all look, please pray for your leader, me. Because I believe in prayer, y'all, because Lord knows America needs it. So, but everything's going good. Let me make this point too. Here's the good part. Even through COVID, even through the corona and all this good stuff, we are closing so many deals. We are having so much success that back in the day, y'all could just deposit your check and it was easier to find because we only had 2 or 3 closings a day. Now we may have 15 to 20 closings a day, so it's hard to find your check. So that's why you got to fill out that manual request form. So what am I saying is, y'all, that's a good thing. Y'all feel me? So I'm not mad at y'all. Y'all keep doing what you do. Keep making that money. Keep closing that deals. Because knowing Luther ain't mad because things are going well. Okay? If you're not closing deals in this environment, shame on you. It's your fault. Because the economy is happening. It's hitting. Atlanta is hot. They call it hot Atlanta for a reason. So yes, our closings as a corporation have really, really grown. And it's grown because you guys are having so much success. So back in the day, if you did not turn in the manual check request form, we could probably find it because there was about 3 or 4 closings in the trust account. Now we got 15, 20 closings a day. There's a bunch of them. So guess what? You got to do your part so we can find your closings. That's why we have that manual form. So please, ma'am, please, sir, fill out those forms. But guess what, you guys? This is a good thing. Nothing but love. I'm proud of you guys. Nothing but success. Things are going well. So, so please, ma'am, please, sir, keep it going. Keep it rolling. Let's keep it up. Let me check my okay. All right. Somebody said, thank you for the training. It's very beneficial. Well, hey, thank you as well. And please tune in next week so we can have some specific training so you guys don't make some errors and we can get this thing processed nice and quickly. All right. Any more questions? I don't think so. Hey, good job, everybody. Let's keep it going. Let's talk next week at 8:30 right here, and let's have some specific training on Platinum DB and the closing process. All right? Thank you. God bless you. Talk to you soon.